Hey everybody, I just finished painting a few of the rooms in my house and I wanted to provide you with 5 quick painting tips that will help you when you are painting any of the rooms or any of the areas of your home. So let's get right to it. The first tip is to spend quite a bit of time preparing the walls for the painting process. Now that includes things like removing any nails or any picture hangers from the walls, applying any spackling compound, sanding down that spackling compound, and anything of that sort. You're going to want to spend a lot of time preparing the walls for the paint because the preparation will pay off in the end. Any imperfections in the preparation process, so any imperfections in the sanding or the application of the spackling compound will show once you have painted the walls and will really stand out. So the first tip is definitely to spend quite a bit of time preparing the walls for the paint. The second tip is to cover the furniture and the floor completely and do a very thorough job of that. Now I know it seems, simple. When you're actually painting the walls, you might say something like, oh no, it'll be easy. If we miss a small area with regards to covering the floor, we can just, use some paint thinner to get it off after. Well, I'll tell you right now that not only is it hard to get that paint off the floor, but it takes a lot more time than it would take to actually cover that flooring area or the furniture. So please be sure to cover the flooring area and all of the furniture as thoroughly as possible. The third tip is to test your paint out in a small area. Now, I know that when you get the color fans from the hardware store, you see the color of the paint that you want, you get it mixed in, and you think it's going to turn out like that on the walls. Well, sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. So what you should do is take your paint the small area of the wall, let it dry for the amount of time that is indicated on the paint can, and then see if you like it. Because it's better and easier to paint over or prime over and then paint over that small area that you've tested than to repaint an entire room. So test your paint first to ensure that you like how it turns out in the room and on those specific walls. The fourth tip is to let the paint fully dry between coats. Now, a lot of people try and rush the painting job. They want to get it done and everything cleaned up as quickly as possible, and they don't let the paint fully dry between coats, and that causes some problems in the way that the finish of the paint turns out and so forth. So you should definitely take a look at the can, figure out how long each coat needs to dry for, and then allow each coat to dry for the required time. And don't take any shortcuts. Don't try and apply the second coat before the first coat has completely dried. Give it the proper and full amount of time to dry. The fifth and final tip is to not go too thin on the application of the paint. A lot of people want to save money and want to save, with regards to saving money on painting materials and so forth. So they, apply a very thin coat of paint to the wall. And when it is too thin, it ends up being blotchy and it doesn't look great because you get the base color that was on the wall before showing through the paint. You don't get that full, rich color that you bargained for when you bought the paint and when you actually painted it onto the walls. So you should definitely make sure that you are not applying a very thin coat of paint to the walls. Don't go crazy and apply a very thick coat, but definitely don't apply too thin of a coat of paint to the walls. And those are the 5 painting tips that I have for you. I've done a great deal of do-yourself painting in my bedroom at my parents' house and in the current house that I'm living in right now, and I've come up with those 5 tips from experience. So I hope that you take those tips into account when you are painting any of the rooms or hallways in your home, and if you take them into account, I promise that they will help you and you will get an excellent finish on the paint job that you have done. And that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching.